Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio. It is 7 o'clock here, Calgary, Alberta, Sunday morning, April the 18th, and I'm happy to be here. This is Child Abuse Prevention and Human Rights Abuse Prevention is up to us, and we're on for 30 minutes. It's a live internet streaming radio broadcast from blogtalkradio.com, and we're going to be talking today about a couple of things. So we've been on Friday night, we were looking at internet safety, finished that up. Some great information on how to stay safe online. And I just found out by just typing on in the browser child online safety or online safety for children, and you can pull up all kinds of great websites to look at more information regarding that. It's so important to keep yourself safe and keep your kids safe, right? Keep your whole family safe. And today I thought we'd talk about, I want to go back and talk a little bit about family violence and child abuse and the issues surrounding family violence, excuse me, and what it does to children. And also, I wanted to look at an article, excuse me, my voice, I'm just waking up. It's on the Dreamcatchers for Abused Children website. I'm just going to read through it because the month of April is in the United States and elsewhere is the National Child Abuse Awareness Month. And all month, there's all kinds of different organizations doing things to help get the word out to prevent and stop child abuse. And there's just lots and lots of things going on. And Dreamcatchers for Abused Children has joined them. Of course, we work just like most organizations who are focused on child abuse and neglect prevention are working all the time, 365 days a year, some 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And basically that's what we do, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. I'm the Canada Regional Director for Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, and it's a volunteer position, which I just love, and I want to be able to just continue on and just keep going and keep getting the word out, spreading the word, promoting awareness, education, prevention of child abuse, right? So it's not a PDF, but it's an article that I found on their website, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, and you can find it and pull it up at http://dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com. And it's a March 2010 newsletter, really. It says March 2010, volume number 1, issue number 1, and it's actually titled, April is National Child Abuse Awareness Month, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. It's a great little article, and you can actually, I think you can print it off and stuff. It's like a PDF download. Like I think you can get it and print it off. And I thought I'd just read some of this because April is moving on. We're already, it's the 18th of April. And I thought, well, before April just disappears, I'd like to read some of this March 2010 newsletter and just sort of spread the word about what Dreamcatchers for Abused Children does. And you can catch their talk radio show. We have a talk radio show on blogtalkradio.com. It's called Dreamcatchers Talk Radio. And you can find it at www.blogtalkradio.com/Dreamcatchers. And you can catch shows live and tune in and listen to what Donna Shear has to say. She's the president and best-selling author, and she's the president of Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. And I co-host, and there's going to be lots more hosts, co-hosts, and lots of guests and stuff coming on. It's going to be great. It's a new show, and we're just getting started. And May is really looking good. There's going to be so much going on, and I hope you will check it out because there's going to be some great information regarding child abuse prevention and the effects of child abuse, what to look for, signs and symptoms, daily headlines, just all kinds of good stuff, really. It's going to be awesome. And so I'm going to be doing some of those shows, but I'm also going to tune in and listen to the ones that I'm not hosting because the information is going to be great. And so I wanted to just read this. It says, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, we are an official worldwide non-profit 501c3 child abuse and neglect organization dedicated to educating the public on awareness and prevention. Our mission is to educate the public worldwide on the signs and symptoms of child abuse, statistics, reporting, intervention, prevention, and assisting survivors to locate the proper resources to help achieve a full recovery. All donations are tax deductible. They're not non-profit organization, 501c3. All donations are tax deductible, and they have their EIN number on the website there. And then they say here, April is National Child Abuse Awareness Month, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. There are lots of different ways that you can help educate people on child abuse and spread awareness. And this is, how we can get involved during the month of April and actually all year long to help spread awareness regarding and educate people regarding child abuse, right? So important. We've got to get the word out. We've got to get more public support for anyone to support any organization who is really doing some good work to stop child abuse and prevent child abuse. They're all good, and anyone who's working on behalf of children like that to make a difference in this thing is good in my eyes, right? So I would say just find one that just that it's just in your heart, right? Like that's the thing. Dreamcatchers for Abused Children just sits in my heart, and I couldn't not get involved with them. So if you have an organization that you just love and you think you want to get involved with them, make sure you do, because they could probably use the help, right? And I'm just going to read right from this newsletter, this March 2010 newsletter. It says, promote us. One way is to try to get as many people as you can to look at our abuse page. If you could possibly find a place for us in your top friends and let your friends know that you are promoting child abuse awareness, it will help us to educate the public faster. You will then be doing your part to help these children. Even if your friends only log on and read our site once, they will remember the signs, symptoms to look for, who to contact, intervention, prevention, and recovery of child abuse. Just think of how many children's lives could be saved if all individuals were trained on what to look for. And another way is educate the public. Another simple thing you could do is to repost our bulletins. It helps to spread awareness and educate the public. And tell all your friends about us. We are here to help. Education and knowledge is the key to prevention. And distribute. We have free full-colored brochures and business cards for public distribution, which features all of our information along with photos, statistics, hotline numbers, and your contact information. If you would like a free brochure or would like a supply to distribute in your local area, please forward me your address and I will gladly mail one to you. And you can get the address there. I'll actually read that out to you. And it says here, donate your time. You could also look in your area at your local resources to see if they need volunteers at the shelters and hospitals. This would be a way for you to learn more about the statistics of child abuse and to help your community. Recently, one of our members used our website as a PowerPoint presentation at his church. He not only received a huge positive response from his missionary, but also had a child come forward to report molestation that had been taking place in the nursery. The man was arrested, all because she saw our website was educated and knew to report this crime. Volunteer. We also allow child abuse advocates to volunteer to become volunteer Dreamcatchers. If interested, you would be an affiliate of Dreamcatchers for Abused Children and would receive a volunteer banner. You would then be asked to help promote child abuse awareness and education by recruiting members to your page, distributing our free publications and information, and assisting members one-on-one. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact us. And sponsorship. You could also ask businesses in your area if they might be interested in sponsoring us directly or by holding a fundraiser or charity event. We accept gift items, monetary donations, in-kind donations, and or goods and services. And donate. You can also make a donation through our secure PayPal site located on either of our websites, and we accept all credit card, debit cards, and PayPal transfers are accepted. If you would like to make a donation, please visit www.myspace.com/abused_children or the main website there, which is www.dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com. And research on our domain website at www.dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com. Please visit our page titled How You Can Help. It has tons of wonderful ideas of ways you can help make a difference and promote awareness. And then they go on, here's the page 3, and it says suggestions on how to raise awareness. Number 1, distribute our free brochures to your neighborhood. Let others know about our mission to promote awareness. Check to see what Child Abuse Prevention Month activities are going to be taking place in your local community and participate. And join your local volunteer hotlines or shelters. Participate in their education programs. Get accredited to volunteer and offer assistance to abuse survivors. Community participation. Cities and counties throughout the region are encouraged to include announcements about National Child Abuse Prevention Month in their newsletters. put up a poster, post on websites, and with an optional direct link to Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. And let others know about our free child abuse handbook that is available for download. And that you can get that right off of the website there, the dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com, or you can get it off Lulu, www.lulu.com // Shear and Potter, KSHIR and Potter, POTTER. And you can get that information right off the website there. And that's a great website. That's a great PDF download. It is the Child Abuse Handbook, and it's free. And there's all kinds of great information in there. I got mine. I actually downloaded it, and there's some awesome information there regarding signs and symptoms, how to report it, intervention, prevention, just everything you need to know really about child abuse. And there's lots of great resources and links and stuff on there too. So it's very handy to have, and very much important that everybody knows the signs and symptoms of all the different kinds of child abuse, right? Business participation. Local companies and small businesses are asked to encourage their employees to wear blue ribbons, hold a dress down day or special fundraiser, display awareness information at your place of business, participate in community awareness projects, and ask their customers to support child abuse prevention organizations. And school participation. Area schools are asked to conduct penny drives or other easy fundraisers to support your local child abuse organizations and local shelters. See, all this really helps, and it really does matter. Everything that we can do matters. Every little thing that we could possibly think of that we might think is so small, like a penny drive. But the whole idea is it brings awareness and it brings education. It promotes it. And so this is good because society really has to take a good hard look at what's happening to our children and what's going on, and really get the facts, get the information, educate yourself and everybody else around you regarding child abuse. And we can possibly make a big dent in this thing and really help prevent it. And we need to work really hard to find ways really to support parents who are having a hard time, I think, because a lot of these people have mental issues, drug addictions, I mean, you name it, right? So they have a lot of problems in their lives, and I don't think when they have children they start out thinking, oh, I'm just going to do this to my child. I think they have so many problems that they just can't help themselves. So, it's unfortunate that we as a society in our own communities can't stop this, but the reports are there. The reports are, we can see it every day. Children are dying at the hands of caregivers or parents or child sexual predators, and they're also, or if they don't die, they're in the hospital due to abuse-related injuries. So this is so important to get involved where you can and really just get the word out, right? And so you can, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, if you wanted to donate, you can make checks payable to DCFAC, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, and you can just mail those into P.O. Box 142, Peck, Michigan, P-E-C-K, Peck, Michigan, and 48466. Or you can email dreamcatchersforabusedchildren@gmail.com. And, if you have any other, information or you're an organization or a business that wants to contact them for media inquiries, PR@dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com and stuff like that. So, there's ways to get a hold of them, and you can find that right on their website. And there's some great information there, so I highly recommend you checking that website out. It's great. So this is all stuff that they actually made a suggestion to help with the National Child Abuse Awareness Month, and that's why they did this March 2010 little PDF newsletter right on the website. So I just wanted to read it out because April is moving so fast. So if there's any possible way that we have time, including myself, right, especially because I am the Canada Regional Director for Dreamcatchers for Abused Children, I've been really looking around to see what's going on in my area, and actually there is nothing right now because I don't think Canada is involved in this month of April. I haven't seen anything countrywide regarding that. So we must be doing something different. I think we're probably picking a different month or a different day, or who knows, but they obviously didn't get in on it. So, but the United States did, and maybe possibly other countries might have. It's hard to say. I don't know exactly who's all involved, but I know that the United States is, and it's the National Child Abuse Awareness Month, the whole month of April. So if we can get involved in any way, just donating a little bit of our time, because I know a lot of times we don't have the money or the resources to donate. So, that's my case. But the thing is Even donating your time just to repost bulletins that you see, like Dreamcatchers is on Facebook, Dreamcatchers for Abused Children are on Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, they're everywhere. And if you can repost these articles regarding child abuse and get the information out to the people that you know, it just gets the word out that much faster. For people to really take a look around at the children in their lives and to start looking for signs and symptoms. And if you notice and you feel that a child is being abused, you have to do the right thing, make the phone call. You have to phone your local law enforcement, 911, somebody. Make a phone call because, you're not going to be breaking up a happy home if that child is being abused. What you'll be doing is saving their life. And so many times people think, I don't want to make the call. What if they're not being abused? Do they get removed from the home? Well, let me tell you, they don't remove them from the home, really. I know that in some cases they have, but in my case they didn't. And we were left in a home that was full of abuse, and we were left at two abusers who continued on to abuse us for many, many years, and no one cared, and nobody took us out of the home, so it's unfortunate. But what I'd like to see is children have a chance, right? And so there's too many kids dying, and there's more children being killed and at the hands of their parents and caregivers than there are who are being removed in error. Let's just put it that way. There's not that many children being removed in error, but there's a whole lot dying every day. So I tell you what, it's the law. You actually have to report it by law. If they found out that you knew and you didn't report it, you could face the consequences, right? It's the law. And not only that, it should be in our hearts to want to protect children. It's a serious thing. They can't stand up for themselves, and they really can't they can't voice what they need to be able to voice, which is if they're being abused, they often can't tell us. And so we have to be their eyes, and we have to be their protectors, right? And no one else is going to do it, and especially the abusers, obviously, they're not going to do it. So, if you know of a child who's being abused, you have to do the right thing and make the phone call. And really, you could save a child's life, and that's just so important to me, and it should be to everybody, right? So we'll continue on. I wanted to look at family violence and child abuse and whatnot. This is from an article I found, and I actually read this out in some of my beginning blog talk shows way back like November, might have been December. And it's such a good article. It's found at www.familyviolence.alberta.ca. And it's called Child Abuse. It says, there is no question that some children grow up in homes where the adults are abusive and violent toward each other. In some of these homes, violence is directed against the children. And so it's an article that goes on to talk about family violence and how it harms children, the impact. It also goes on to talk about the types of abuse. It's a great article, and I would highly recommend anybody who's interested to get in there and check it out. Exposure to violence affects child development and just all kinds of stuff. How can you tell if a child is being abused? And so I thought we'd just start reading this again because I don't think people are going to go back and listen to my December shows. You know what I mean? I've done 180 something shows, and it's a long way to get back to those archive shows. You can do it, and it takes a while because it's like on page whatever. It takes a while to flip through the pages right on this blogtalkradio.com site. But I've done 180 shows, and I did cover this like a long time ago. But I want to cover it again because it's so important. It says exposure to family violence harms children now and in their future. Some parents hope that if the children do not directly see the violence, it will not harm them. Some parents hope that they can protect the children from the impact of abuse. But abuse does harm children, even if they are not directly subjected to it, even if they are in a different room when it happens. Children are harmed even if they are asleep when the violence happens. Being in an environment of anger and abuse has an impact on children in many ways. It affects their brain development. That in turn affects every aspect of their development, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It increases children's level of anxiety and fear. It affects their ability to learn. It affects their ability to connect with other people. An impact. All across Canada, adults are harming children. Children are abused or neglected, and that goes for the world, really, the whole world. It's a huge problem. Children are abused or neglected. They live in angry and violent homes or environments where there is substance abuse. It happens in cities and towns, in rural and isolated communities, in settlements, and on reserves. The children may become fearful and anxious. They may believe the whole world is a dangerous place. They may become aggressive, lashing out and bullying others. They may become passive and very obedient, thinking they cannot change any part of their lives. They may lose energy and hope and disconnect from the world. They may have trouble learning because so much of their brain is busy dealing with the stress of an abusive environment. And they may be at greater risk of growing up to be abusive to others, to be abused, or both. And if children continue to be exposed to violence and abuse, the trauma will continue to affect their brains and development. And then they went on to say here, things are changing. There are some reasons to hope. As a society, we know much more than we used to about what helps children grow up to be strong and healthy. More people know that child abuse exists and that it is harmful to children. More people are willing to notice that a child may be at risk of abuse or neglect. And more people are reporting their concerns about a child or young person who may be in an abusive situation. Some children who grow up in violent, abusive homes become strong, healthy, happy adults. They have satisfying long-term relationships. So that's just the first part of this article. And I found that I'll give that to you again, www.familyviolence.alberta, ALBERTA.ca. So familyviolence.alberta.ca is where I pulled this up from. And it's a great article. It really is. It's very much in depth on what happens when a child is exposed to family violence. And I didn't go through my beginning sort of intro. I always say, this show is not a professional show, and I don't hold any professional counseling certificates or therapist certificates. And if you go back and listen to all my shows, I usually do this at the beginning, but I actually forgot this morning. It's not meant to replace professional help, and really you have to listen at your own discretion, really, because we weren't talking so much about abuse before, but now we are. The subjects of abuse are very sensitive, and you have to know what's good for you to listen to. So I ask that you would take a minute to think about whether or not the show would bother you, and if it would, turn it off, because we're going to start talking about abuse now. So, the subjects are scary sometimes, and it's hard, especially as survivors of child abuse, which I am. We can be triggered, and so you have to know where you're at, and if you're comfortable enough to be listening to the program and about child abuse and whatnot. So you do want to make sure you keep yourself safe, and you can turn the show off, no problem. It won't be hurting my feelings for sure. So you listen at your own discretion, please. And also, if you're a young person under the age of 18, you want to get someone to listen to this with you, because they need to know what you're listening to. It's so important. Reason being is that there's so many psychos out there trying to get a hold of kids online. And we just did a portion of that. We just did a whole week of shows on that. Actually, 3 shows at night. We did those shows, and Saturday morning, regarding internet safety, how to stay safe online. And one of those suggestions was that you have to let people know what you're doing online and what you're listening to, who you're talking to. You could save your life. You could save your own life. You could save your family's lives, and you could save a friend's life if you pass that information on. It's so important. So if you're a young person under the age of 18, you might have someone listen to this with you, like a teacher, hopefully a parent if you have one who has time or cares, or someone in your family that you trust and is older that can kind of help you just to see if it's something that you really should be listening to. There's a lot of adult material. As much as it is about child abuse, and it's for children to stop child abuse, the whole issue is that there's a lot of adult material. It's quite sensitive, and you might have questions and some not know where to get the answers. So, I think it's a great idea to get an older person to listen to this with you, and then they can help you find the answers and maybe talk to you about it a little bit, right? And because it's so important, right? So how violence in the home affects children. So I'm going to continue reading right from this page. It says you can find information about child abuse in provincial law, Alberta's Child, Youth and Family Enhancement Act, federal law, Canada's Criminal Code. These 2 acts define what behaviors and conditions require child and family services authorities, delegated First Nations agencies, or the police to investigate. Types of abuse. Our understanding of the needs of children is growing all the time. In turn, our understanding of abuse and neglect is changing. Some practices that used to be considered okay are now considered to be abusive. There are 4 main kinds of abuse: neglect, emotional injury, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. And these are just the 4 main kinds. Neglect is any lack of care that puts a child in danger or harms a child's development. Physical neglect includes not providing adequate food, clothing, shelter, health care, or protection from harm. Emotional neglect is not meeting a child's needs for attention and a sense of belonging. Emotional injury can be exposure to violence or severe conflict, which can cause emotional injury. chronic alcohol or drug abuse by the guardian or anyone living in the home, rejection, inappropriate criticism, threats, humiliation, accusations, or unrealistic expectations of a child. And physical abuse happens when someone uses force against a child on purpose, and it results in physical injuries such as broken bones, bruises, and burns. It can happen just once or more than once. Sexual abuse is introducing a child to any sexual contact, activity, or behavior. Sexual abuse includes any sexual touching, taking advantage of a child sexually, or exposing a child to sex. Sexual abuse can be by a parent, relative, friend, or stranger. In most child sexual abuse cases, the sexual abuse is by someone a child knows. And there are statistics about that, and on different websites and stuff you can find them. 90-something% of child abuse cases regarding sexual abuse are usually is someone that the child knows. And I mean, that would be obvious because you have to look at who's around your child all day. These children are being sexually abused by someone who is around the child all day. So you have to think about that. It's generally a family member or a family friend or someone who's around the house, who's around the child. Could be daycare issues, right? If your child is at the daycare, you have to really be on the lookout for who your child is around. So important because most of the time it is a family member, and quite often, sometimes it's a family friend. But the thing is it's usually a family member. And if you start looking around at the statistics and some of the websites out there regarding child sexual abuse, it's right in our face. It's right there. The issue is it's usually a family member. So you have to be aware of that and understand that people are sick and that they do sick things with children. And so you can't just trust them because they're a family member and think that they're going to do the right thing because they're a family member. It's just proven that people, regardless of whether a family member or not, have mental problems and all kinds of issues, psychological problems, and abuse and sexually abuse and molest children. So, I'm not saying we all have to start distrusting our family, but what they did suggest was on like littlewarriors.ca, that's a great website, www.littlewarriors.ca, spelled out just like Little Warriors, LITTLE WARRIORS, littlewarriors.ca. That's a great website regarding child sexual abuse, and they said you just be aware that there are these issues going on, and so you should pop in every now and then unexpectedly on your child and whoever's your child's with, and do background checks if you have someone looking after your child, and other than like for sure a family member. But the thing is, family members, you should pop in unexpectedly at various times, not all the time because they'll start figuring it out, but just to sort of check in and see what's happening. Right? Great idea. So many ways you can be on the lookout for child sexual abuse, and there's websites out there full of information. Dreamcatchers for Abused Children has tons and tons of information regarding child sexual abuse, but you just have to start looking around. There's great information out there. And so sexual abuse can also take the form of exploitation. In other words, taking advantage of the child. Sexual exploitation crosses all social and economic boundaries. All children are at risk. Exploitation includes distributing, selling, or making child pornography, using the internet to attract a young person for sexual purposes, forcing someone under the age of 18 to go into prostitution. And, I mean, that is just sad. They said in 2003 the most common forms of confirmed child abuse in Alberta were neglect, 34% of confirmed child abuse, exposure to domestic violence, 23%, physical abuse, 20%, emotional abuse, 20%, and sexual abuse, 3%. That's just really bad. And that was in 2003, and I think things have escalated since then. We got about a minute left, and thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock a.m., one child abuse survivor to another. I'll be back on tonight, actually, at 9 p.m. Mount Bethel Christian Fellowship and Worship. Just going to do some Bible reading, Bible study. I thank you so much for tuning in. And, make sure you get the signs and symptoms. Understand the signs and symptoms. Educate yourself. look around and protect the children that are in your world. And then get involved, like in your community, in your local community, helping out at shelters, like they said, women's shelters, places that deal with domestic violence and child abuse and whatnot. Just giving them a hand is really what they need. They just need a hand. They just need a little bit of help. If we all did it, it would be a lot of help. And I'm so happy that you could join in. And I'm the Canada Regional Director for Dreamcatchers for Abused Children. Check our website out at http://dreamcatchersforabusedchildren.com, and you can get lots and lots of information there, let me tell you. So have a great day, everybody. Take care, and we'll be talking to you soon.